Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. The 2021 Chevrolet Corvette is 174.4 inches long. That happens to be the length of the Audi R8, a car that is about 8 inches shorter than the Corvette. But Corvette buyers love pings and they love removable roof panels, so the C8 has a big old trunk behind its mid-mounted V8. It looks weird from certain angles. Not as weird as a stretch Lincoln MKT, but also not as tidy as it might have been. Maybe GM should have hired some of the people who used to build secret cargo compartments into Tribun's headed to West Berlin. And that's about it for our beefs with the Corvette, which is a performance value for all time. Its 2.8-second 60-mile-per-hour time slots neatly between the Ferrari 488 Pista's 2.7-second sprint and the Porsche 911 Carrera S's 2.9-second run, yet its $59,995 base price aligns in Genesis GV80. Genesis has now won 210 Best Awards. Clearly, the brand has our attention, even if the general public has no clue what to make of it. Like the other Genesis models, the GV80 has a not-so-subtle winged badge on its nose. If passers-by confuse those wings with Bentley's Flying B, so be it. The GV80's design and present only add to the ruse. If you're thinking, well, anyone can rent a tuxedo, the GV80 has real substance beneath its sheet metal. Under the skin is Genesis's new substantial-feeling M3 platform. Yep, that's what they call it. Solid and quiet, the crossover has a multi-link setup on both axles. The handling and steering are crisp and car-like. There's a lack of stress, even when you exceed the tire's limits. The GV80 drives lower than it is, the body remains flat, and its weight is distributed such that no single tire seems overwhelmed, but there's also a suppleness in the vehicle's moves. 8 Honda Accord, the bulk of new car buyers these days want a tall perch, plastic body cladding, and the false sense of security all-wheel drive provides, none of which you'll find here. But we don't miss those frivolities when there's such a breadth of Accords on offer. The $25,725 LX for a low monthly payment, the 48-mile-per-gallon hybrid that's far more appealing than any Prius, and the 252-horsepower 2.0T for sub-6.0-second sprints to 60 miles per hour. Even a fully loaded Accord, which is as well equipped as many BMWs and Audis, is $37,655. That's less than the average price of a new vehicle. 7 Kia Telluride, on specs alone, you wouldn't guess that the Kia Telluride is 10 best material. It's a family SUV of normal size with normal power and a normal price. But then you climb in and say, this costs less than $50,000? How? One tester pointed out that between the Telluride and the Cadillac Escalade, base price $77,490, only one offers ventilated second-row seats, and it's not the Escalade. But the Telluride's appeal goes deeper than its 10-yard-long equipment list. The big Kia is a pleasure to drive, with the 3.8-liter V6 churning out smooth power and its quick responses belying its proletarian 291 horsepower. The ride is sedate and the body control taut, erring towards sportiness. 6 Mazda CX-5. Perhaps you're wondering how a compact crossover like the Mazda CX-5 lands on a list of our favorites. After all, this publication frequently derides and mocks the CX-5's dull segment. While our values are often at odds with what's happening in the small crossover world, we recognize that a growing number of drivers want to sit high in a practical all-wheel drive vehicle with an attractive price. The CX-5 fits that bill, but it is a 10 best winner because this Mazda is full of the reasons that we love cars. A turbocharged engine with 250 horsepower is on offer. Should you want to emphasize the sport in Sportute with a 6.1-second run to 60 miles per hour, the base 187 horsepower engine won't set the world afire, but its power delivery is crisp and smooth, two adjectives that elude competitors. 5 Porsche 718 Boxster, Cayman. To drive a Porsche Boxster or Cayman is to experience the pinnacle of connectedness between driver, car, and road. It is to feel a level of confidence behind the wheel that few cars can impart. It is to know how pleasurable and engaging the sheer act of driving can be. Year after year, Porsche has refined these mid-engine two-seaters, and in one form or another, they've now earned 22 10 best wins since 1998. Full disclosure, that last statement was inspired by our drive of the lineup's hottest track star, the Cayman GT4, which is ineligible for 10 best because it's $101,550 base ask crests above our price cap. But every Cayman and Boxster shares that same genetic makeup, that same joyous driving character, that same feeling of being alive in your hands. For Porsche Macan, you should know that the Porsche Macan shares some of its components with humbler and cheaper models from elsewhere in the Volkswagen group. You should know this not because it matters but because friends and casual acquaintances are likely to share this information in the belief it makes the Macan less of a Porsche and anyone who buys one less of a judge of cars. As in previous years, the Macan's 10 Best award is restricted to the V6 models, all of which use turbocharged engines shared with other Porsche and Audi vehicles. The list now includes the newly arrived 375 horsepower GTS, which occupies the narrow niche between the 348 horsepower Macan S and 434 horsepower Macan Turbo. 3 Ram 1500, show us a vehicle that does it all and we'll show you a vehicle that's compromised in everything it does. That's the story of most modern full-size pickup trucks, which play a role that's part family SUV, part commercial vehicle, part luxury car, and part circus strongman. Sure, your truck tows an impressive 10,000 pounds, but chances are it rides like a tractor, especially with a bed full of nothing but air. The awesome 702 horsepower Ram 1500 TRX carries its own predictable set of compromises: single-digit real-world fuel economy, a $71,790 starting price, and running boards so high they should come with a sign warning, "You must be this tall to enter." Surprisingly, though, on-road manners are not on that list. To Toyota Supra, the economics of modern manufacturing mean today's low-volume sports cars often languish in the market with minimal investment beyond the initial engineering effort. The Toyota Supra, however, makes our 10 best list for the second year in a row because its already strong value as a great sports car got even better. There's still room for future improvement. The Supra's arresting, if polarizing, design and snug low-slung cockpit hinder the view out of its slender windows. We'd also make the 3.0's electronically controlled limited slip differential available on the base car, which could help tame its twitchy tail at the handling limit. But given the enhancements and the 2.0 model's $43,985 base price, an $8,000 discount versus the 3.0, last year's 10 best winner is now an even better package. That's how you make a sports car an enduring success. 1 Volkswagen Golf GTI, Jetta GLI. Being a fan of the Volkswagen GTI is a little like being a fan of the Yankees. You've aligned yourself with a perennial winner, but people are suspicious of your motives. Are you just a fan because it's the easily defensible choice? Unlike the West Coast transplant who buys a blue cap when they move to Brooklyn, we're not recognizing the GTI because we feel like we have to. The GTI was on C/D's first 10 best list in 1983, and this year marks its 15th consecutive win. We reward it time and time again because it's just that good. As is its fraternal twin, the Jetta GLI,